Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. The function of education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. Intelligence plus character. That is the goal of true education. The roots of education are bitter, but the fruit is sweet. Education is not preparation for life. Education is life itself. Education is the key to unlock the golden door of freedom. My mother said I must always be intolerant of ignorance, but understanding of illiteracy. That some people, unable to go to school, were more educated and more intelligent than college professors. Is the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it. An investment in knowledge pays the best interest. The whole purpose of education is to turn mirrors into windows. The purpose of education is to replace an empty mind with an open one. The only person who is the educated is the one who has learned how to learn and change. Education is the movement from darkness to light. Education is the best friend. An educated parson is respected everywhere. Education beats the beauty and the youth. Education is not filling of a pail, but the lightning of a fire. The goal of education is the advancement of knowledge and the dissemination of truth. Education is an admirable thing, but it is well to remember from time to time that nothing that is worth knowing can be taught. The philosophy of the schoolroom in one generation will be the philosophy of government in the next. A man who has never gone to school may steal from a freight car, but if he has a university education, he may steal the whole railroad. You are always a student, never a master. You have to keep moving forward. Education is learning what you didn't even know. You didn't know. Education is the ability to listen to almost anything without losing your temper or your self-confidence. The direction in which education starts, a man will determine his future in life. In the first place, God made idiots. That was for practice. Then High made school boards. The most influential of all educational factors is the conversation in a child's home. Any man who reads too much and uses his own brain too little falls into lazy habits of thinking. The only thing that interferes with my learning is my education. 9/10 of education is encouragement. Learning is a result of listening, which in turn leads to even better listening and attentiveness to the other person. In other words, to learn from the child, we must have empathy, and empathy grows as we learn. Education is simply the soul of a society as it passes from one generation to another. The illiterate of the future will not be the person who cannot read. It will be the person who does not know how to learn. It is a miracle that curiosity survives formal education. Education is simply the soul of a society as it passes from one generation to another. The things I want to know are in books. My best friend is the man who will get me a book I ain't read. It is with children that we have the best chance of studying the development of logical knowledge, mathematical knowledge, physical knowledge, and so forth. Men and women must be educated, in a great degree, by the opinions and manners of the society they live in. A library is the delivery room for the birth of ideas, a place where history comes to life. He who opens a school door closes a prison. Change is the end result of all true learning. Develop a passion for learning. If you do, you will never cease to grow. If I were again beginning my studies, I would follow the advice of Plato and start with mathematics. He that loves reading has everything within his reach. I would rather entertain and hope that people learned something than educate people and hope they were entertained. To educate a man in mind and not in morals is to educate a menace to society. Much education today is monumentally ineffective. All too often, we are giving young people cut flowers when we should be teaching them to grow their own plants. The foundation of every state is the education of its youth. Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. Learning is not attained by chance. It must be sought for with ardor and diligence. Reading, after a certain age, diverts the mind too much from its creative pursuits. Any man who reads too much and uses his own brain too little falls into lazy habits of thinking. The great aim of education is not knowledge, but action. Education is a progressive discovery of our own ignorance